Hey, so good morning. Thank you again for your time. My name is Vanessa Castano. I am a regional vice president at Expo Credit. I wanted to go ahead and talk to you guys about our referral network. We have created a referral program that has been made for financial experts just like yourselves, where you guys can benefit from your network. We know that the cash flow issues are a growing pain for a lot of companies at this time, especially after COVID, the pandemic. There's a lot of companies that are struggling to find cash flow that they need. That is where we can come in and help them out. We know a lot of companies are offering credit terms, and they need to be paid. So we want to come in and take care of your referrals for you. Basically, with our referral network, we'd be able to pay you a commission for the life of the deal with the client, and we would take care of them for the whole time for you and make sure that they have the cash flow and liquidity that they need. So on today's agenda, we're going to talk a little bit about Expo Credit. We're going to talk about the industries that we serve. We'll talk about the factoring process and who our target client is. We'll get into a little bit about our digital platform, commissions, and some case studies as well. So Expo Credit is a finance firm that's headquartered in Miami, Florida, where I work out of, but the company actually started in Colombia. We started in the flower industry about 20 years ago. We were basically just doing domestic factoring within Colombia, and they realized that they wanted to move somewhere where they can attend a lot more industries and get a little bit more of a international touch. So they moved to Miami, Florida. And now we are considered some of the experts in accounts receivables factoring. We understand the marketplace and the challenges facing businesses and their financing options. So we want to partner with you to provide some of the most flexible options and prices to give your clients quick solutions. We have managed more than $8 billion in transactions, and we do domestic and international funding as well. So some of the things that make us different from a lot of other companies is our experience. As I mentioned, we have more than 20 years in the industry, our global reach. We can fund any kind of receivables all around the world as long as they're billing in US dollars. We are a non-recourse factor. So what that means is that we don't require any personal guarantees. Now that we're just counting on the invoices themselves that we're discounting, our credit insurance covers anything except any kind of commercial disputes or fraud. So if the client were to go bankrupt or anything like that, all we would do is file a claim with the insurance, and we wouldn't really come after the client themselves. We are very flexible in the way that we work, meaning that we can look at deals that other companies don't look at. We always want to try to cater to the customer's business, to their business model as much as we can and not interrupt the way that they do business. So we're very flexible in the way that we can do business, and we are very growth and success oriented. Now, when I say this, I mean not only to the client, but we're growth and success oriented for you, for our financial partners. We'd like to give you guys all the tools that you need to be able to grow, to be able to prospect, to be able to close these deals. So we have created, a secure portal that I'll get into a little bit more later in the presentation called My Expo, where we have white label material for you guys. We have, commissions reports so you guys can keep track of what your clients are funding. So we're really committed to your growth and success as well as the client's growth and success. Now, as I mentioned, we do have a global reach. So even though we are headquartered in Miami, Florida, we do have offices in Colombia and in Mexico. We can also discount receivables in Mexican pesos and euros, but there is a hedging cost along with that. The only countries that we can't do any work in is any countries that are going through any kind of turmoil with the government. So let's say, I know you see Argentina, Cuba, and Venezuela here, but when it comes to Argentina and Venezuela, as long as the the client can be located in these countries, but the debtor cannot. So meaning the person who is paying Expo Credit, the final payer, cannot be located in these countries. But if they have debtors, let's say there's a Venezuelan company selling to the US and they have their US clients, so we can look at those. So if you ever have any questions regarding what companies, what countries we can work with or what deals we can do, just feel free to ask us, and we'll let you know if we're able to do those transactions. One more thing I did want to know is that we cannot work with the governments with the governments as debtors. So if you're working with any kind of client who's selling to the US, to any kind of government, and whether in the US or abroad, we cannot look at those transactions. So one great thing about Expo Credit is that we are not industry specific. It's easier for us to tell you what industries we can't do anything in, rather than telling you which we can work in. So we can't do anything in the medical industry because of the third-party payers, and we cannot do anything in the construction industry because of progressive billing. But besides that, we have clients and industries all across the board. These are some of the better performing ones. Technology is really strong right now. Seafood, we do a lot of frozen seafood and seafood because of the seasonality of the business. So if there's any clients that you have that have seasonal businesses, factoring is really a great product for them because it really helps them get with the cash flow and liquidity that they need. The aerospace industry is big, oil and gas, perishables, meaning any kind of, we can do fruits and vegetables, any kind of food, and of course services. As long as the services have been delivered, we can definitely discount those receivables for them. Now, I know that when we think about factoring, people only think that we are just financing them, but we're really giving the client integrated services. We're able to give them credit analysis on their clients, let them know if their clients that they're selling to are credit-worthy. We act as a collections for them also. If we give them these tools so they're able to focus more on growing their business, and we can handle the back end for them. The credit insurance is really a great addition to the factoring, just because we're able to ensure these transactions. There are a lot of companies that don't have their own credit insurance. So when they do the factoring with us, we're able to not only finance them, but we're able to make sure that in case anything did happen, if their client goes bankrupt or insolvent, they are covered as well. And so it's really a lot of integrated services beyond the actual financing that we're giving these clients. Now, who are our target clients? So our target clients are somebody that's selling business to business. So any kind of distributors, exporters, wholesalers, manufacturers are a great client for us. They have to be billing in US dollars and pesos. We like companies that are growing quickly, companies that have, outstanding AR invoices. Companies with limited credit history, and this is because usually companies that already do have credit history are able to get a bank line. So we usually want the clients that are not big enough to get a bank line, but are just in that growth stage. Especially the companies with international clients. I think that that's really what sets us apart from a lot of other companies, is the international reach that we have. A lot of banks don't offer factoring for international debtors. So sometimes clients are able to get, the domestic side factoring, and they have a large outstanding AR report for their international clients. So, we are able to come in and help them on that end as well. Our factoring lines can range from 250,000 to 10 million. We have two ways that we can do transactions. The first way is we have private investor funds. With this money, we can go up to 10 million. If you do have a client that wants a facility over 10 million, Expo Credit has a lot of partnerships with different banks. We are partners with Bank Sabadell, different City National, where we can do the servicing side. The bank provides the funds, and one of the biggest lines that we did at Expo Credit, I believe, was around $70 million. So, you know, we can definitely do a lot bigger transactions. It just depends on if the bank has the appetite to do a participation for us. We also like to see companies that have annual sales of about $2 million. So this really means that no startups. We like to see, and this is because when our credit department does its analysis, one thing that is very, very important is the payment history. So without the payment history, we are not able to approve, approve any transactions. We like to see that, you know, the client is delivering a good product, that the debtor is, you know, receiving this and likes the quality of the client's product. And we also like to make sure, you know, we like to track their payment patterns to make sure that, you know, that they're paying on time, or what their payments schedule looks like. So if you have any questions regarding any kind of client target ever, all you really do have to do is send us, write us, give us a call, write us an email, and we'll be able to let you know whether or not they are a good fit for us. So when it comes to the onboarding process, I usually say it takes 7 to 10 business days. This all really depends on how quickly we get the information that is requested. So here you can see kind of a little bit of a timeline of how it would work. I usually say that the onboarding process is divided into three different stages. The first stage would be the stage where we would issue a proposal. So let's say you would introduce us to your client, we would have a call. The client would send us the first set of documents that would be to send them a proposal, and we can have a proposal for them within 24 hours. If they sign that proposal and they decide to move forward, then we would move into the second stage of the credit and underwriting process, which requires a little bit more detailed information about the company. I won't go into all the information that we would need, but like I mentioned, the payment history is very important. We would submit the debtors to our credit insurance to make sure that we can get coverage. And then there would be a call with the credit committee. And ultimately, after all the questions, you know, regarding the payment history, regarding the financials, regarding anything questions the credit department have been answered, it would be formally submitted to our credit committee. And they usually meet on Fridays, and, you know, it would either be approved or denied. I usually say 7 to 10 business days, all depending on how quickly we get the information, on how quickly the questions are answered. So it all really depends on how fastly the client moves. So I'll give you a very simple explanation of exactly how the factoring would work. Basically, the client would invoice their customer for whatever products or services. The client would then let Expo Credit know that they are interested in discounting this receivable. They would sell their invoice to Expo Credit. Expo Credit would then advance anywhere between 80 to 85% of the invoice to the client. And when the client pays Expo Credit directly in 30, 60, 90 days, we would give you the balance minus our fees. So there's really no upfront payments. I'll give you a very quick numerical example. Let's say that the client has a $100,000 invoice. Expo Credit would be able to advance them $80,000. Let's say the fee is around a 1%. So towards the end, 1%, a little bit, maybe more. I'm just giving you a numerical number, 1%. So the fees would be about $1,000 and some change for a $100,000 invoice for us to advance some $80,000 per 30 days. One great thing about our services is that the company can pick and choose what invoices they discount. They don't have to, give us all of their invoices. They don't have to give us all of their clients. There are no minimum commitment fees, or early termination fees. So this is just really a great product for the client to have, and have a line set up to use us when they need us, and they can, whenever they're in this cash flow kind of bind, they have this option readily available to them. I already went over a little bit about this information, but here you can see a little bit more in details about the list of what I was talking about, the 2 stages for the credit for the onboarding process. So the first stage would be getting a proposal. The second stage would be, for credit and underwriting. And then the third step would be getting, once they actually get approved, signing, any kind of notification letters, any kind of agreements, et cetera. And then finally they'd be able to get funded. Here's an example of what our factoring proposal would look like to a client once they send that first set of documents. So as you can see on number 1, the advance would be about 80%. As I mentioned, the factoring fee about 1.3%. The processing fee would be the insurance fee. This is a one-time fee. So let's say we have that $100,000 invoice again. Here, the processing fee says 0.25. That insurance fee would be at $250 for that one invoice. This is per invoice every time. Now, let's say the client does have their own insurance policy, which sometimes a lot of clients do. All they would have to do is endorse Expo Credit to their insurance policy, make Expo Credit a beneficiary, and then that processing fee would not be charged for clients that do have their own insurance policy. Now, on number 10 and number 11, these are going to be the only upfront fees that would have to be paid by the client to set up the line. So there would be that $245 registration fee. And then on number 11, the debtor inquiry fee. Now, this is a fee that Expo Credit doesn't make any, money from. Basically, what this fee is for is to submit the clients to our credit insurance policy, as well as run a different credit report on that our credit department uses on. If and when the client does have their own insurance policy, those fees would be a little bit differently, and we can, once we get there, we can speak about it. But those are the only 2 upfront fees that we would have to be paid up front. Regardless, the factoring commission as well as the processing fee would come out of the back end from the reserves of the client when they are actually doing the transaction. Here you can see this is a little calculation. So for $1 million, the factoring fee is 1.5. The invoice terms are 60 days. For us to advance $800,000, it would probably be $30,000. So this is just a bigger calculation than the one that I gave you earlier. Now, one of the biggest questions are what is the difference between factoring versus a bank loan? Basically, one of the most important ones is, how quickly we can get access, get access to the capital. We don't require any covenants as well. Expo Credit really focuses on the credit worthiness of the debtors, not on the clients. So if this company doesn't have a lot of credit history, if they're not an American company, maybe, we can definitely fund them a lot quicker than the bank. Banks only provide the funds, so no operational support. This comes with the integrated services that I spoke about earlier, where we're able to give, the credit analysis, the collections, where we're really able to give the client these extra services to help them grow their business. And so there's a lot of ways that we can be different than a bank. So this is a digital platform that I was speaking about earlier. Basically, we have created a portal, My Expo, where you can sign up and you can have access to different case studies, different social media posts, different presentations for you to share with your clients. This also works as a platform where your clients are able to upload their information onto a secure portal. So they don't have to be sending us any kind of files via email, so they can feel safe and secure when sending us their financial information. On this portal, you are also able to keep track of what information your client has uploaded. You're also able to keep track of your commissions as well as aging reports and kind of see, keep track of how much your client has been using their facilities if and when they do. Now, commissions. So Expo Credit really has a great commission program. We're able to give you anywhere between, depending on what it is, 5 to 10% of the factoring commission that Expo Credit gets for the life of the deal. Usually clients stay with us for several years. You don't even have to be that involved. As long as your client is still funding, we're still able to give you the commission. You can see a little example on the right. Let's say they have a factoring facility. If their invoice was $1 million, you would be getting a $3,000 commission just for that invoice. So usually there are repeat invoices, and this is just a really great way for you to use your network and be able to get a little bit of cash on the side as well. So all the commissions are paid within 15 days. And this can also be tracked via your My Expo. As I mentioned earlier, you'll receive a monthly commission report and a monthly aging report at the end of each month. Now, here are a couple of case studies. These are just some different facilities we were able to amount. So like I mentioned, that we do a lot in the perishable industry. This was a fruit exporter in Ecuador. We were able to give them a $500,000 line. This was the one in the middle is a logistics company who we were able to give them a $350,000 line. And then they were in the trucking industry. And then this one, which is really, we were able to give a media production company $1 million facility to produce their movie with a contract that they had with Amazon. So that one was a really interesting case study that we had. And then if you do decide that you want to, work with us, we will be sending you, I don't know if you have already filled it out or if you haven't, you can apply as a broker through our website. Once you apply through a broker through our website, you will be you'll be sent an agreement. You'll be able to upload all the information required for us to pay you for when you do, your W-4s and things of that nature. And you will also gain access to our portal, My Expo. We do always have these different webinars. This one was called Broker University 101. Sometimes we have different ones, different topics. So we will always keep you informed. As I mentioned, we are very growth and success oriented. We like to make sure that we partner with the right people and we're able to give them the tools they need to be successful. So once again, I want to thank you for your time. I'll open the floor for any questions that you may have. So yeah, thank you.
Hi, Vanessa.
Hi.
Hi. A couple of questions. What's the average fees? If you can give me like a range, is it between 1, 1.5, 2, or what's the average?
So I usually say it's from a 1 to a 2%. I've never seen any rates over a 1.5, and this is including credit insurance. But sometimes you never know if you get a client who, let's say, it all depends on 3 things. It depends on 3 things what the rate's going to be. It depends on, number 1, the size of the facility. The bigger the facility, the smaller the fee can be. It also depends on how many debtors are. So let's say there are, whether it's 1 versus 3 debtors, so the risk concentration is an all-in-one debtor. And then it also depends on the strength of the company's financials. I usually say a 1 to a 2% just to be careful. So let's say there's a company who's a smaller company, maybe they're selling about $1 million. They don't have that much payment history, they don't have strong debtors. We can work with them, but we can give them a very much higher rate because the risk is going to be higher. But usually I would say from a 1 to a 1.5%.
Got it. The second question is, so you're asking for actually 3 years financial statements, right? The 2 previous years and the current.
Yes, we do ask for that, but we don't need the company. So let's say if they have only been If they have the 3 years, great. If they don't have the 3 years, maybe they're a newer company. This would be maybe when the rates would be a little bit higher. We could still work with them, but it does not have to be 3 years. 3 years is what's ideal for our credit committee. You know, the more information that we have on the company, the better chance that we have of it being approved. So that's ideally what we need, although we can look at companies with a little less, you know, history than that.
So what's the minimum?
I would say at least 1 year, one to 2 years. I mean, 1 to 2 years. 1 year would be fine if we see that they have a great growth. Let's say the company has to have a great growth. They have to have, you know, really good projections. They have to have strong debtors. We can look at it. Not, you know, if the company is only in business for a year and they don't have payment history, you know, it's different. But the most important thing is the payment history. So let's say they have business in 1 year, they have great payment history with strong debtors, and they have a good projection, we can definitely have a look at it.
Got it. And finally, do you explain the fees? I mean, once we upload some information, do you guys basically take over from there and explain the, you know, the fees and so forth, the process, or are we in charge of doing that?
No. So you can be as involved or as uninvolved in the transaction as you want. We have brokers on both, you know, ends of the spectrum. So we have people who just like to say, hey, listen, this is my client. Here's their contact information. You call them and you do all the information. That's fine. And then we have people who like to be involved in every single call. You always have, you know, our support along the way. So it all depends on how you want to handle the transaction. You know, if you just want to just give us their information and, you know, you guys take care of it, we can do it. Or if you want to be on every step of the call, if you want to be as involved, you know, and it's really up to you.
Got it. But the commission structure doesn't change.
It doesn't change, no.
Got it. Okay. That's
Okay.
all on my side. Thank you.
Awesome. So if you don't have any more questions, I have a recording of this that I can resend you this. We can also resend you the broker form just in case you haven't filled out any information. And once again, I want to thank you guys for your time. We look forward to hopefully working with you. And if you guys, again, have any questions, my name is Vanessa, and I'll leave my contact information for you in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good.
Bye-bye.